Our random game today, we're going to be playing a game that I'm still pretty new to. I'm still kind of working out the details and learning. It's called Oxygen Not Included. It is a space simulation builder where we have this world planet that we start on. It's an asteroid. And you have to pay attention to things like your oxygen levels, food, temperature. There's rooms you can build if you meet the specific criteria that affect your morale in different ways. The better the item, so you have a latrine, which is the lowest level, which is +1 morale. You have a washroom, which is +2 morale. But they each require different things. Greenhouse will increase the growth speed of crops. Hospital makes it less likely to spread disease. So, but there's different things that you have to meet for this. You have your, what they're called duplicants, because they are actually printed from this pod. And I started with these three. They have their different skills. This guy is pretty reasonable with strength, which helps him carrying things around and working on things. Excavation, which is digging. Piloting, which later would be useful for getting to a new asteroid. We have this one who's kind of a jack of all trades. She's just got a couple points in agriculture and husbandry. She's got points in athletics. She's not too special. She has exosuit training to begin with, which increases her athletics as well. And then we have this guy who is amazing at agriculture. He's got 9 to start, and he starts with the second skill in agriculture. So a mistake I had made before, when they start with a tier 2 or a tier 3 skill, I thought that meant they had all the prerequisites. Come to find out, that just means they have that skill. You still need to take the earlier ones. Actually, I think it's this guy here has the super duper hard digging, which is required for diamonds and obsidian. I had assumed that meant he had these and was really excited, but we still have to take these for him to be able to dig those minerals as well. There's a priorities screen where you can set the priority for what you want them to focus on the most. This guy is amazing at agriculture. Obviously, we want him to focus on agriculture more than other things. None of these guys have any major detractors except for his athletics, which the athletics doesn't really seem to affect any specific skill. If they have a negative in something, I will usually go ahead and close it off so they're not allowed to touch that. You can also set the priorities high, very high, high, low, and very low, so they're less likely to do things you don't want them to. Unless they're really good or really bad at something, I generally just leave it neutral. Or if there's something that someone's really good at, I'm going to go ahead and set the others to lower so that that person is more likely to do it, or that duplicant. This game has different animals. These guys are actually pretty cool. I've got one right there. I've got another one there. And there's another one over here. These shine bugs actually produce light, which, if they're too close to your duplicants while they're trying to sleep, will wake them up throughout the night. But if they are near crops or an algae oxygen producer, it will make them actually produce way more and do better. So they're kind of like a portable or a living light source. I haven't actually gotten to the point of taming it yet, but if you come in here to the research, it won't let me until I have a research station, but you can research the crop growing and ranching, which I have not gotten to touch yet, as well as different structures and things that are needed. So let's go ahead and jump into this. Now, a couple things I like to do. We have to start right away by digging because we have no materials to begin with. So I'm going to hit G, which activates the dig tool, and come down here and open this up. And I'm going to go ahead and open this up. Now I'm going to tier this section and then come back later. And the reason I'm tiering this section is they can jump a single gap and they can get to something too higher than them. So they can actually, I guess, yeah, too higher than how tall they are. So they can actually hit up here. But if I open this up completely to start, they're going to end up down here and not able to touch these without building the infrastructure first. Which we will work on infrastructure later, but let's go ahead and get them started. I like to speed up the screens to full speed because otherwise it just takes longer than is necessary. Things haven't really seemed to be too chaotic that we need to go slow. So yeah. One thing I really like to do, I like to build these into rooms. If I leave them too high, I can put a too high door there, the pneumatic doors or other types of doors. And in between the rooms, I like to put ladders so that we can go up a floor or down a floor. Now, you might notice that these are producing bubbles. This oxalite will disappear fairly quickly, but it produces oxygen for the time being. Kind of a nice little free source of oxygen. And there's a few things that we need to work on right away. Otherwise, it will cause us problems. One of the first things that needs to be worked on is we need to have a toilet. Now, if you look at the room overlay, the latrine gives a morale bonus. It requires a toilet and a wash station. To get the washroom, you need a flushing toilet and a plumbed wash station, which are something that you need to research later. But we do have the stuff to make the latrine. So we're going to go ahead and work on that. And so we're going to place an outhouse. And for the washing, we need a wash basin. Now that's not going to be usable until we have water. And it takes specifically water bottles. You cannot put a pipe up against that. So what we need to do is we need to place a pitcher pump. Now the pitcher pump requires access to water. And one of the easier ways we can do that, I'm going to have them dig this out, but I'm going to do it kind of slowly so that nobody falls in because that would end badly, I'm sure. Have one of the duplicants drown or something would not be fun. I'm also going to set the priority up of these two because those are extremely important to get started. Now I'm going to have them dig this one next. And then I'm going to have them dig that one really quick. Now, I am losing materials down here. We get plenty, and metal is the most important and difficult to come by material, and neither of those are metal. So I can place the pump there, and I'm going to set the priority up. The priority only lasts until it's built, and then you have to reset the priority again if you want it up. Now, I'm going to set these priorities to 8 because they are extremely important to maintain. I'm also going to set them to be able to harvest these plants. And I'm also going to set their priority. Actually, their priority is at 8, so that's fine. Next step, I'm going to put a ladder here. Now, it's not going to put it directly on the plant, but they'll be able to get down to these plants now. That's also going to free the light pet, which will start coming in and making it a little harder for them to sleep, but I haven't noticed any critical issues with that, with the lack of sleep at the moment. So we're not going to worry too hard about that. Now, the next thing that is going to be really important, well, first of all, I'm going to go ahead and put a storage bin here and set the priority up to 7 just so that they'll get it made quicker. And then I'm going to build this out because we do need this copper ore. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 is usually pretty good for a big room, so I'm going to go ahead and leave it at 8. Put a ladder here, and then open this up to be able to put something else there later. And to get them to build that, as well as to gain access to more of the copper, I'm going to go ahead and set them to dig that as well. And then you'll notice these little boxes down here. You need to set what you want put in each of them, and you can break it down to the specific items. I've discovered a hatchling egg and a shine nymph egg, so I could have them put those in there potentially. Cultivatable soil, that's all I've found so far. But as we find different things, it will open up and show them. I'm just going to go ahead and set it to all because I don't mind there being other things in here. This is just kind of my baseline. Now, to make this actually become a latrine, you'll notice it's not doing anything. It does need to be enclosed. So I'm going to go ahead and put the doors there. I'm going to go ahead and build a ladder up so that I can enclose the top of the room. Oops, don't want that one there. Go ahead and put that there. And I'm going to go ahead and let them dig this area out just so that they can actually fill that in. Now you'll notice once that is done, that now is a latrine. It shows the different color and you can hover over it and see exactly what it says. Now each time they open this, it's going to cease being a latrine for a moment, but that's fine. In the end, it will finish itself. Now I'm going to go ahead and put this ladder down all the way so that they can get to that. And I'm going to have them open this up so they can get to these plants more easily as well. And then what do we do with these plants? We are going to need to have a food making device. And for that, I'm going to go ahead and set that up right up here. Now, I could make more than one, but it's not really necessary at this point. Although I am going to share one of the most important things I have learned the hard way, and actually had to restart games because of. Every so many cycles, you are able to print either, it could be a pet, it could be food or a liquid or an ore. Generally, it will give you 3 to 4 duplicates that you can pick from, and then sometimes it throws in a different item. One of the worst things you can do is get too many duplicates too fast, because they will starve to death and they will start running out of oxygen. And generally, you are not going to have a very long-lived game at that point. Now, these wires, this is the electrical wiring. I built a hamster wheel over here that the duplicates can run in, and then wiring over to the food machine and the research station. I'm going to extend this by 2 so that we can put a couple batteries in. And what the batteries will do is hold that charge a little bit longer while the duplicates are asleep or busy doing something else. And then, as you can see, there's a duplicate running in the wheel, and that is charging the research station and other things. Now, one of the first things I like to work on with the research station is this line right here in the food. This gives an algae terrarium, which helps produce oxygen. It gives a ration box, which helps the food last longer. It gives a compost, which will allow them to make compost and fertilizer. And then the most important thing is you get this farm tile, which lets you plant seeds. And you get a mess table so you can make a mess hall, electric grill, an egg cracker. There's different things you can make. And as you go down the line, there's the ranching and animal control. This lets you trap animals. This has baits and stuff to catch them and groom them and take care of them. And this all works towards agriculture and food. You have the power line, which gives you different ways to produce power, store power, and move it around. You have solid materials, which includes refining materials, smelting. I haven't played with this tier yet. You have colony development, which gives things to make the colonists happier, craft items for them as you unlock their blueprints. Gives you a supercomputer so that you can research these advanced things. And this will give data analysis research, which will let you research the yellow. Radiation technologies to deal with radiation. Something I didn't mention, those light pets actually do produce a small amount of radiation, and if they're exposed to too much radiation, they can apparently get radiation sickness. There's also things like uranium in the game. I have not had any issues with the light pets, even with them swarming around my duplicants, but theoretically they could get sick from it. There's the medicine tier, which is things like pharmacology, allows them to get medicines, a sick bay, hand sanitizer helps them clean their hands better, things like that. Liquids, there's ways to carry liquids, pump liquids to things, carry the liquids around, and vent bad liquid, like from the toilet, into a section that you build. Hey, how's it going? It'll let you, what I found is best is to open up a little section to dump all your waste into. Same with the gases. Gases work the same way. There's also a few items that will absorb the liquids and gases and convert them into something usable. And then there's decor computers and other things we can research. So I've got them set up to do the farming research. We're going to go ahead and leave it at that. And wait for this guy to finish crafting. I'm going to go ahead and increase his workload on this. I do want to set this to 9 so that they will actually use the electricity as a priority. And now it is just kind of a waiting game for them to work on actually building this stuff for a few moments. We can look around the map a little bit while we're waiting. Over here, there's a natural gas geyser. I've never actually used one yet, but it is there, and you can hover over, and it is producing all this unbreathable gas. There's some other types of plants around. As we unlock or go farther, we're able to see more of the map. Sometimes there's different creatures, there's different kinds of plants. Oh, the basic farming finished. That opens up the rations box, which I'm going to go ahead and sit here by the food producer. And as I said, you do not want to get too many people too fast. So I'm going to let this sit until I have the farming, and then we will get an extra person. Oh, look at all this yummy ore. That will be really useful. There's also occasionally these ruins, and I have not managed to get over to one yet, but theoretically there's going to be all sorts of goodies in there. And sometimes the different animals will lay eggs. We have a little shiny egg over here. that will hatch on its own. Theoretically, we can also store it in the bin. I don't know if that will prevent it from hatching for the time being, but that would be the theory. Okay, so now they are working on doing this, getting some more algae. Let's see. Make sure that this is actually selected still. Yes. Okay. So they're just doing their kind of early, this guy's kind of doing some early maintenance, filling up the water, putting things away. Eventually, someone will go back to the research station and then we can start working on food. Awesome. Now the batteries are charging. And with the food, first of all, we need to set that up to hold the food. You can make it so it's only the edible food, or you can set it up for cooking ingredients or all. This sweep only feature, you have the ability to force them to say, I want you to pick up these items. And if you set a bin up for sweep only items you tell them to pick up will be able to be put in there. As far as the food producer, you have to set it to how many of each item you want them to craft. I set it to forever because there's no reason for them not to craft the food. They eat it pretty quickly. And if you come over to the report, I'm only at 10,000 calories right now for all of these people. That is not going to last too long. So I'm actually going to get the one that is not... Oh, perfect, it finished. Meal prep finished. So I'm going to pause for a second. I'm going to set up the next thing I want them to work on, which I'm actually going to set up the interior decor because it produces lights. And then I am going to set up the farm really fast. Now I want to set up 4 tiles of plants, 4 tiles of plants. Oops, I do not want this one. And I'm going to set a tile up in the center. And the reason that I am doing that is because some of the plants require a certain amount of pressure to be available. And it never hurts to have oxygen. So I'm going to set up an oxygen diffuser, which will bring it up to a maximum pressure, which usually is enough to keep the plants happy. It also produces oxygen, which is never a bad thing. I'm going to add some wiring up here. Go ahead and just connect it up there. It doesn't seem to matter where it is in the chain as long as it connects up to the electricity at some point. Now, they need to be able to get down to craft these. So I'm going to extend the ladders down. And we are... Interesting. I think I might have made this section bigger last time I played. But I'm actually going to make that 3x3 so that I can actually put in a door here if needed. And then we will just make another garden right over here. Or actually, let's do it over here where it's a little bit wider. Never hurts to have too many plants in this game, that's for sure. And we will actually pump the oxygen into this one. Now, as you can see... Hey, Reese! This is a pretty awesome game. I actually just recently got it, so I am still learning the ropes on this one. But it has been a lot of fun so far. So I'm going to build a second garden plot over here because I have run out of food in this game one too many times. And let's see, let's let them go ahead and work on that. I'm going to set my priority up on this food production area specifically, and we will let them get to the other one as they get to it. Okay. So now it's kind of a wait again. We're getting some seeds off of these, which is nice. We'll be able to plant those in a few minutes. And now we wait and let them do this. Our breathability is only in the 40s at the moment. I'm going to go ahead and set up an oxygen station here. And then let's go ahead and put a little bit of oxygen right over the top of this. We're not going to make this a huge priority yet. But we will put a sublimation station up here, another algae terrarium, and an oxygen diffuser. Let's go ahead and set up the power to go up here. You know what? Let's do it this way. It'll be easier for them to get to it. And we'll let them get to that when they do. The food is definitely the highest priority right this moment. We are down to 8,000 calories. Let me see. I'm going to set them to be able to harvest those as well. Set the priority up on these. Okay, now we can start planting some plants. I usually have noticed we get a lot more mealwood seeds than blossom seeds. Not sure if that's everyone's experience, but at least to start, that has been mine so far. Now this guy is a little bit grumpy because there's not enough light. As soon as we research those lights, we should be able to fix that problem though. I'm going to go ahead and set the priority up to this for a moment just so that they get some oxygen production going. Up there. Let's put another mealwood seed down. And then as soon as this pops, I want to set this up to 9 so that they will actually refill the water and refill the algae in it. Let's do another mealwood seed. We're going to set that up so that they'll refill the algae in that one as well. That should start making it a little bit easier for them to breathe. Now, the best color that I have seen so far is this nice light blue for oxygen. Red is unbreathable. Anything in between is varying degrees of breathability. I'm going to put another blossom seed in the middle, and then I will do the final one as the mealwood seeds. Oh good, they took care of that. Let's go ahead and get that planted. And now they are on break for the night. Okay. Now I always try to set the priority up on the gardens because I want them to tend to the gardens and not be distracted by everything else. And while the night is happening, let's go ahead and check this. Ruby gained a skill point. Now I want him to go the digging chain so that we can get through the harder materials. So I'm actually going to start with the hard digging, and we will work our way up to what he actually started with. This allows him to do some of the semi-hard materials. Let's see if I can find any. Like granite, I believe, was one of the ones that they have trouble getting through. And now that we have the garden going, I'm going to wait for that food total to go up just a little bit, and then I'll go ahead and pop the next duplicate. They could definitely use the help. Let's see how our oxygen is doing. It's starting to spread, which is nice. Also, a fun fact with these algae terrariums, they actually produce 10% more when they have a light source nearby. So having these little guys hanging around is perfect. Oh, we forgot to turn our food up. That is not good. That is probably why our food is still dropping. You really have to pay attention to the priorities, because the priorities will really make the difference on how your game goes. If you do not turn up the priorities on the important things, they will often fall by the wayside. Perfect, we finished that. So let's go ahead in here and find the next thing that we would like to research. I am going to say let's go ahead and work on some better electricity. And then in the furniture, let's go ahead and put a couple lights. Now, nice enough, it shows where the lights will shine. And I am just assuming, yep, these guys are going to need some power. So let's connect up some wires. Set the priority up so that they will actually work on it. And let's see if that is enough to get those guys actually growing. That would be nice. And then we have one person making the food, one person making more electricity. Check the skills. These guys have their skills now. Now they will put hearts next to the things they really want to learn, and they will actually get a morale bonus for learning those. I'm actually going to go away from that with her specifically, just because I already have my agriculturalist. So we're going to improve her machinery a little bit. And he is easy. We want him to improve his farming. That brings him up to 11 agriculture, which means he is going to be really good with that. And upgrading that changed her color on that a little bit. That doesn't matter so much. There we go. And now they're going to go to sleep. Depending on where this guy goes, they might sleep through the night. If he gets too close, they're going to stand up and like this guy just did and get grumpy. That is the one downside with the light pets. That, and if you look at the radiation overlay, they do produce a little bit. Let's check our oxygen. We're doing okay with the oxygen. Our food is holding pretty steady at the moment, but it's not increasing yet. So he's doing all his little maintenance things before he will probably start working on this, hopefully. Might have to get another person early just so that we can actually go back to work. Now they get little happiness boosts when they talk to each other or interact with each other. If someone brings something to another person, they'll get a little bit of happiness for having helped each other. Let's see. After this day's cycle, if the food holds steady, I'm going to go ahead and pop the other person. We definitely need an extra set of hands here. Actually, you know what? We are gaining food fast enough. I'm going to go ahead and switch. Now, care package, we can get rust. We can also pick from one of these people. They all have something positive and something negative. This guy gets bonuses at night. This guy gets bonuses to machinery, and he starts with 12 construction. This one gets decreased strength, so much less good at tidying and carrying things, but is immune to food poisoning. Extra potent on machinery. This one does better in space. Better for creating things, increased medicine, but cannot dig at all. So I think I'm going to go ahead and go with, not sure which one I like better. I think I'm going to go ahead with her. And because of that, we're going to go into her skills. She is really good at machinery. So we're going to give her machinery. Go ahead and give her her little machinery hat. Give her that. She is bad at strength, though. Which is unfortunate because that is what I wanted her for the most. Although she's good at operating, so you know what? If I put their focus on that, hopefully she'll go work on stuff and free someone else up. Let's see. Tidying is that. There we go. Now it's their downtime. They just ate and they still have 10,000 calories, which is great. 9,000. We started with just about 6,000 today, which means we have a net positive, which is exactly what we want to see. We have the lights, and the lights are enough to keep that growing. So perfection. Now I want to work on this garden before we do anything special, but then it's going to be time, I think, to start working on some beds. Let these guys have a good place to sleep. Ooh, they found a hatchling egg. And we have a baby shine nymph up here. And we have a baby shine nymph here, too. The animals will breed on their own. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to increase the priority specifically of this upper area to get the oxygen production going a little better. And then we will work on focusing on getting the second garden going. Make sure we do not run out of food. I cannot emphasize enough how bad it is to run out of food in this game. I actually had made it to cycle, I think, 26 on one game, and then had, actually it was a Mima character, pass away because of starvation. That was exciting. I had 6 people going in one small garden. So, make sure you account for their food. Okay. Let's see. As far as rooms, we have the latrine. I don't think we have anything else that we can build quite yet. We will be able to make a mess hall. Great Hall requires a recreational building. Let's see what they have for recreational buildings. It's either going to be in decor, I'm imagining, or it's going to be in colony development. Let's see. There's a party line phone. Oh my. Let's see. This does not seem to be recreational at all. So let's come down here. This is decorations specifically. Clothing. Ooh, a comfy bed. Not quite sure where they would have the recreational stuff. I imagine a jukebox might be a recreational thing. So they might just kind of be looped in here in different places. Yeah, I think it's these morale ones. There's a hot tub down here. There's a party line phone here. There's the water cooler. There's a mechanical surfboard. An espresso machine. Soda fountain. So they're just kind of mixed in, it seems. Go ahead and set that up, but not as a high priority. Now this will become a laboratory once we have 2 science buildings and a light source. Uh-oh. Insufficient oxygen. That warning should go away once we get this crafted. Now, I'm not sure if I have uncovered any of it on this map. Oh, here. This is one of the super hard, or, well, I guess there is harder than that. The super hard digging is required for abyssalite mining, which is this stuff here. Looks like these really fancy crystals. Then there's the super hard is for diamond and obsidian. Hazmat. I'm assuming is for really, really bad substances. Oh, there's a fancy creature. A Dreco. One of the maps I had first played on, there was a round of abyssalite full of uranium. Doesn't look like we have anywhere like that on this map, though. Here's some more abyssalite. The abyssalite seems to be out at the outskirts a bit. There's some interesting little bugs over here. Sweetles. And then we have pockets of water, which is nice. Oh, nice. There we go. We're starting to get our oxygen up here. We have unrefrigerated food. Oh, they just haven't put it away yet. Okay, let's see how this is affecting our oxygen. This area is going to get light blue real fast once these are finished being produced. And then the other thing we can do to make it so that the oxygen travels better is if we research the, let's see, where is it? The gases first technology. We can put a pump in one area that has a lot of oxygen, carry it through pipes to other rooms, and release it in vents. Let's see the vitals. Morale is good. Fullness is good. No diseases. Over here in the consumables, you can set what they're allowed to eat and not allowed to eat. Not entirely sure why you would turn any specific ones off, but that is an option. I guess there is one. I have seen a duplicant that can eat radiation. So I guess if you're having food issues, you could turn her off of food and give her radiation. Here you can set the schedule, so if you have someone that's particularly good at night, you could set them up with a night schedule instead. Let's see. And then they have a star map, which I have not used this yet. I'm assuming these might be other nearby asteroids. I've never actually gone into space. We will have to figure that out in a future video or a future stream and see what that does. Oh, we have our little hatch running around now. And we are up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shine nymphs nearby. 1 hatch and a little hatch egg. The cool thing with these hatches is they actually poop out coal. But they will literally eat just about anything that you have. However, they also give decor. And you can find them by digging. Let's see what it says about the shine bugs. They emit a soft light. It shows their brightness and their light range. They're captured using lures. And they eat bristleberries, and phosphorite. And they emit a soft light. And apparently there's a small chance of laying a sun nymph egg when you feed them bristleberries. Interesting. I wonder if the hatch has anything like that. Yeah, you have a chance of getting a stone hatchling or a sage hatchling. It's kind of interesting. There is, for what seems like a fairly simple game, there is a lot to this game. Okay, sublimation station, let's set that up. It speeds up the conversion of polluted dirt into polluted oxygen. Hey, everyone got lucky tonight and the shine lanes stayed away. The shine nymphs. Also, one really, really nice thing on this mat or on this game. If the crops are not valid, so the light's turned out and these guys didn't have access to light, or they run out of water or fertilizer, instead of the plant dying, it just stops growing. And once the criteria they need are met again, then they will start growing again. Now, why is that saying an invalid building location? I guess just because this hasn't been built yet. Yeah. Okay. That solved the problem. Let's see how we're doing. I would like them to open this up so that the oxygen can spread better. Now, something else interesting that was discovered, they will, yeah, I really need to get them some beds. My duplicants are not very happy right now. Let's see if I can find anything that says it. They have these different traits. So the main traits that you look at are they have their positives and negatives that you can pick from that affect their skills. And then they have an effect when they're stressed and an effect when they're at super high morale. This one will throw up everywhere when they're stressed, but they will spontaneously redecorate a room when they're overjoyed. And they have lots of different ones. This one eats too much, but will decorate a room. This guy cries, and I actually had one that cried in a different game, and he stood on the ladder crying and started making puddles of water on the ground under him. But he will hand out balloons when he's overjoyed. This one gets super productive when they're overjoyed. So that's something to take into account when you are picking out your duplicants, is see what kind of perks and negatives they get with that as well. Let's see, our oxygen, we're no longer getting the too little oxygen warning. Oh, but the other thing I was going to say, I had a duplicate that had farting as their negative. And as you had seen, these were a lot lighter colored when we started, and then they started getting darker over time. Some structures can produce unbreathable air, but the duplicants also produce, and the animals also produce gases as well. Whether it's from breathing or farting or whatnot. I imagine the plants actually, probably, if they did this the way I would expect, they might produce some. Actually blocks radiation a little bit. Has a melting point. I can't even imagine getting to 9,726 degrees Celsius. Oh dear. Looks like you can give them errands probably when they're tamed. Perfect. They managed to get that cleared up, so that'll spread stuff around. Now let's get them going ahead and building the second garden so we can sustain a little bit more people. Now, unfortunately, yeah, I was going to have to break that plant. Because you cannot build where there is an existing plant. And our food is climbing beautifully. Looks like we could actually afford to go ahead and get another player or another duplicant. So we could get a bundle of fertilizer, or there's a scientist, a cook and rocketeer, or another strength person. This one gets increased agriculture. Oh, that is really nice, and starts with hard digging. Is a mouth breather, so they consume more oxygen. This guy is immune to food poisoning, has a small bladder, is a menace in the kitchen, and is squeamish, so it can't do doctoring errands. You probably don't want them to cook, and they are going to use the bathroom like crazy. And this one is germ resistant, doesn't care about his food quality very much, but isn't very good with machinery. And then they get destructive when they're stressed out, which means they won't repair buildings, which is nicer than some games where they would actually probably go break things. And they're a sparkle streaker. When they're overjoyed, they leave a trail of sparkles. So let's see. We could use a cook, but we could also use a scientist. That's funny. Get a bunch of heralds together in a room, and you'll have a bunch of heralds together in a room. That's amusing. Let's see. I think I'm going to prioritize this one. She's going to be a lot easier to take care of, or, well, I guess he will be a lot easier to take care of, and is a cook, which will be nice to have someone that is focused on cooking. And we are going to give them the first step of cooking, give them their cooking hat or their chef's hat. We're going to come over to priorities and set their cooking priority up to max, lower everyone else's because we really want them to do that. And I'm actually going to go ahead and lower their other priorities. If I can actually click on the button properly. I'm going to lower their other priorities for now because I really, really, really want them to be the one cooking. Okay, so they do have an increased piloting skill. I'm going to lower that for now because we're not piloting anything, and Ruby is able to pilot nearly as well. He's only 1 point below, so we'll leave it like that. They're getting their knowledge, they're getting their hat, and now they are going to go cook. Perfect. That is exactly what we want. One of the things with their skill in cooking, they get a plus 30% cooking speed, so they will cook faster. Which that is one thing, their different skills will have other effects. This guy has a 55% harvesting speed, 28% tending speed, 36% seed chance, and 110% farmer's touch effect duration. Have to wonder what that is. Although I see that it has been an hour and this stream is supposed to be an hour, so we are going to go ahead and save this. I have this name Threetopia Twitch, so this game will only be played on this Twitch stream. And if we feel like it, maybe we will pick this game up again next week. Same time, Sunday at 5 a.m. Or perhaps it'll be a different game and we will pick this up at a later date. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you have an awesome day. We will be having a breeding stream in Ark sometime this week. And also Wednesday, we will be doing our building and work on the base some more on our Ark stream. It'll be the same time, 5 a.m. And if you enjoyed this, hit that follow button and have a great rest of your day.